Introduction to CSS Color Code. CSS stands for Cascading Style Sheets, a style sheet language used for describing the presentation of a document written in HTML or XML. CSS color codes are used to specify colors in a web page expressed as a combination of red, green, and blue RGB values or as a hexadecimal code. Understanding hex code and HTML color codes. Hex code is a 6-digit code that represents a color, with the first 2 digits representing the red value, the second 2 the green value, and the last 2 the blue value. HTML color codes are defined by color names such as red, blue, and green, and can also be expressed as a combination of RGB values or hexadecimal codes. Different types of color codes. 3 main types of color codes used in web design are RGB, hexadecimal, and HSL. RGB and hexadecimal codes are the most commonly used, but HSL color codes are becoming more popular due to their flexibility. How to use CSS colors. CSS colors can be applied to various elements in a web page, such as text, background, borders, etc. To use CSS colors, add a color property to the element you want to style. CSS color names and values. CSS color names are predefined names that represent a color. CSS color values can be expressed as RGB values, hexadecimal codes, or HSL values. Tips for choosing the right colors for your website. Reflect your brand identity in your website's colors. Understand color psychology. Create a color palette that includes a primary color, secondary color, and accent color. Use contrast for readability and accessibility. Advanced CSS color techniques. Set the background color of an element using the background color property. Use web-based CSS color picker tools like ColorZilla, Adobe Color, and Coolers. The current color keyword allows you to use the color of the element as the value for a property. Best practices for CSS color code. Use meaningful color names to make your code more readable and easier to understand. Use shorthand notation to set multiple properties using a single line of code. Use color contrast tools like WebAIM's Contrast Checker to ensure your website is accessible to all users. Common CSS color mistakes to avoid. Avoid using too many colors, which can make your website look cluttered and unprofessional. Avoid using low contrast colors that make it difficult for users to read your content. Avoid using bright colors for text as they can be hard on the eyes. Conclusion: mastering the CSS color code is essential for creating beautiful and accessible web designs. Consider your brand identity, pay attention to color psychology, and create a color palette that reflects your style.